Nobody sits you down and says this. Nobody pulls you aside and tells you that most of the energy you spend defending yourself is completely wasted. That most of the arguments you win cost you far more than losing would have. That most of the people you have been chasing were never going to stay no matter how much of yourself you poured out for them. So you spent years doing what you were taught. Speak up, fight back, explain yourself, make people understand you. Keep trying until someone finally sees your side of it. And every time you did that, you walked away exhausted, drained of something you could not name, but could always feel, still misunderstood, still undervalued, still handing pieces of yourself to people who collected them without ever saying thank you. Something has to change. Not your circumstances, not the people around you. You specifically, the way you respond to the world around you. Because the version of you that reacts to everything is the version of you that everyone can reach, everyone can push, everyone can pull off balance. And the version of you that has learned to stay still, to choose silence deliberately, to move without explaining every single step, that version is untouchable. That version does not announce itself, does not beg for approval, does not need validation from the same people who once had the power to ruin your entire day with a single sentence or a single look. That version is not built overnight. It is built one moment at a time, one withheld reaction at a time, one chosen silence at a time. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly how to start building it today. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Whether you are watching this at midnight, unable to sleep, or in the morning, finally ready to take your power back, comment below. I choose silence. Number 1. Silence is not weakness. It is the most misunderstood form of strength. You were taught that silence means you have nothing to say, that going quiet in an argument means the other person won, that not defending yourself means you are accepting everything they accused you of, that a person with genuine confidence always speaks their mind loudly and immediately, and without hesitation. Every single part of that is wrong. And believing it has cost you more than you realize. Look at the ocean. No warning before a wave crashes. No announcement before the tide shifts. No explanation offered afterward. Just force arriving exactly when it chooses to arrive, doing exactly what it came to do, and retreating without asking anyone how it performed. Real power moves the same way. It does not campaign for itself. It does not hold press conferences. It does not need a crowd of witnesses to feel legitimate. It simply exists and acts and moves forward without pausing to collect opinions about itself. Most people spend their entire lives reacting. Someone says something sharp and they fire back immediately. Someone pulls away and they chase without stopping to ask themselves why. Someone questions their choices and they launch into a detailed justification before the question has even finished landing. Every single reaction is a withdrawal from an account they do not even know they are holding. Your energy is that account. Your attention is that account. Your emotional bandwidth, the part of you that can focus and create and grow and build, is that account. And every unnecessary reaction makes a withdrawal. Every argument you did not need to have, every explanation you did not need to give, every chase that went nowhere, all of it costs something real. And the person on the other end of that transaction walks away richer every time. Because the person who provoked you was not looking for a debate. They were not genuinely curious about your perspective. They were hunting for proof. Proof that they still have the ability to move you. Proof that you are still reachable. Proof that despite everything, they can still get under your skin whenever they choose to try. Your anger gave them that proof. Your long defensive message gave them that proof. Your tears, your frustration, your urgent need to make them understand your side, all of it was the prize they came for, and you handed it over without even recognizing what was happening. Say nothing instead. Not because they were right. Not because you ran out of things to say. Not because you are afraid of the confrontation. Because you looked at the situation with clear eyes and made a conscious decision. This person does not get my energy today. This moment is not worth what it would cost me to engage with it. What follows that decision will genuinely surprise you the first time you experience it. They push harder, they try a different angle, they repeat themselves louder, they bring up something from the past, they do everything they know how to do to get the reaction they came for. And every single time you remain still, every time you choose not to engage, something shifts in the dynamic between you. Your power compounds, their grip on you dissolves. Not dramatically, not all at once, but steadily, undeniably, in a way that both of you can feel, even if neither of you says anything about it. Silence is not passive. Silence is not surrender. Silence is an active choice made by someone who has decided that their peace is worth more than the temporary relief of being heard by someone who was never really listening. A reaction needs two people. Silence only needs one. Master that one person, and you become genuinely unmanageable to everyone around you. Epictetus taught us, no person is free who is not master of themselves. Master your reactions and you master your world. Number 2, every time you over-explain yourself, you shrink yourself. You made a decision, a perfectly reasonable decision about your own life, and then someone raised an eyebrow or asked why in a tone that was not really a question, or gave you that look that somehow managed to communicate disappointment and judgment and mild contempt all at once. And suddenly you were talking, explaining, justifying, walking them through your entire reasoning process, step by step, almost apologizing for having made a choice in the first place, as if your own decisions require their written approval before they can officially count. At the end of all that explaining, did the relationship feel stronger? Did you feel respected? Did you feel like you had communicated something important? No. You felt smaller because what you communicated was not thoughtfulness or consideration or a desire to be understood. What you communicated underneath all those carefully chosen words was fear. Fear of their judgment, fear of their disapproval, fear that without their agreement, your decision does not fully belong to you yet. Over-explaining is not communication, it is audition. You are auditioning for their approval of a life that already belongs entirely to you. And every time you perform that audition, you reinforce the idea that their verdict matters more than your own. Watch the people in your life that others instinctively respect. Not the loudest ones, not the most aggressive ones, the ones with quiet authority, the ones whose decisions seem to carry weight before they have even finished making them. Do they over-explain? Do they send paragraph after paragraph defending choices they already made? Do they bend themselves into shapes trying to make sure everyone around them is comfortable with their direction? No, they decide. They state it simply. They move. And the clean confidence of that sequence, the decision followed immediately by action with no anxious elaboration in between, creates a kind of gravity around them that explanation could never manufacture. You can build that same gravity. Start by making a choice and letting it stand without a support structure of words holding it up. Say no without a reason attached to it. Decline without an explanation following you out the door. Draw a boundary and do not immediately begin narrating the philosophy behind it. The discomfort you feel after saying something plainly and then going quiet, that discomfort is not a sign that you did something wrong. That discomfort is the feeling of not performing for someone else. And the more you sit with that discomfort, without rushing to fill it with more words, the smaller it gets until one day you realize it has disappeared completely. The right people in your life will never require your justification. They trust that you have reasons even when you do not share every detail of them. They are not waiting for a full breakdown of your decision-making process. They are waiting to see what you do next. And anyone demanding a complete explanation of every choice you make is not interested in understanding you. They are interested in managing you. They are looking for the gap in your reasoning they can slide into and use as leverage. Every explanation you provide is a gift to that process. Every unnecessary detail is another door you have opened into a house you did not mean to let them enter. You are allowed to be a mystery to people who have not earned your transparency. You are allowed to make choices without holding them up for public inspection. You are allowed to move through your own life without filing a report at every decision point. Make your choice. Say it once. Move forward. Let the results be the explanation. Seneca reminded us, speak only if it improves upon the silence. Most of what we say in defense of ourselves only weakens us. Number 3, the person who chases gets ignored. The person who withdraws gets chased. You poured more of yourself into someone who was already pulling away, more messages sent into silence, more effort extended towards someone who was not extending anything back, more availability offered to someone who was becoming consistently less available to you, more of yourself placed carefully at their feet like an offering, hoping the sheer weight of your devotion would make them turn around and finally genuinely choose you. And the more you gave, the less they seemed to want. Not because you gave too much, but because the way you gave it removed the one thing that makes human beings protect what they have, the possibility of losing it. Effortless availability kills perceived value, not because you are not valuable, because the human mind is wired to assign worth based on scarcity. What we can have any time we want less urgently. What we sense slipping away from us, we suddenly cannot stop thinking about. This is not a character flaw in the people around you. It is psychology, and understanding it changes everything about how you move through relationships. Pulling your energy back is not a tactic. It is not a game designed to manufacture urgency in someone who has grown comfortable. It is a recognition that your energy genuinely belongs somewhere more deserving. Your goals need it. Your health needs it. Your growth needs it. Your peace. The kind of peace that comes from investing in something that actually returns what you put into it, needs it desperately. So redirect, not to punish anyone, not to prove a point, but because you looked at where your energy was going and made an honest assessment of what it was producing. When you do that, two things happen at the same time. The person who was treating your availability as a given suddenly notices its absence. Real absence, not dramatic withdrawal but genuine redirection of attention, does something to people that no amount of presence or effort or devotion ever managed to do. It makes them feel the weight of something they had stopped consciously appreciating. It reminds them that what they had access to was never actually guaranteed. Some of them will reach back. They will notice the gap and move toward it. And when they do, you will have information you did not have before. You will know that this person is capable of moving toward you, that the effort can flow in both directions, that you were not imagining the connection you thought you had. Others will not reach back. And that information is equally valuable because it confirms what the pattern was already suggesting, that you were the only one building, that the connection you were investing in was largely a construction of your own hope and their passive participation. Either way, you gain clarity. And clarity, even when it is painful, is always more useful than the comfortable fog of not knowing. But the deeper gift is what happens inside you. When you stop chasing, you get absorbed in something real, something that grows when you feed it, something that gives back in proportion to what you put in. And from that absorbed, productive, genuinely fulfilling place, you start attracting rather than pursuing. Not through strategy, not through manipulation, through the simple, undeniable magnetism of someone who has decided that their time and attention are reserved for things and people that earn them. A person building something real is always more attractive than a person desperate to be chosen. Always. Without exception. Stop running. Build something worth running toward. The right people will find you in the middle of it. Marcus Aurelius whispered through time, confine yourself to the present. The person who is at peace with themselves has no need to chase what is already meant for them. Number 4. Your silence after being hurt is the loudest message you will ever send. Someone hurt you, and every part of you wants them to know exactly what they did. You want them to feel the specific weight of it. Not just a vague awareness that something went wrong, but a real understanding of the damage, of the nights it cost you, of the confidence it quietly took, of the way it changed something small but permanent in how you see yourself. You want them to carry at least a fraction of what you have been carrying, so they cannot simply walk away from it untouched and unchanged. So you reach out, you construct the message carefully, you find the words that most accurately describe what happened and what it cost you. You deliver it as honestly as you know how. Every hurt, every disappointment, Every specific moment they let you down, laid out clearly so there is no room for misunderstanding. And they respond with an apology that sounds rehearsed, or a defense that redirects everything back at you, or worse, a silence that tells you they read it and felt nothing strong enough to respond to. And you realize with a particular kind of exhaustion that nothing actually changed because a person who hurt you without caring has already shown you their capacity for empathy. That capacity has a ceiling, and no matter how perfectly you articulate your pain, no matter how undeniable the evidence you present, you cannot raise that ceiling with words. You are pouring water into a closed container and wondering why it does not fill. Your silence operates differently. Not the silence of someone who ran out of things to say, not the silence of someone who gave up and went quiet. The silence of someone who looked at the situation, clearly measured what they had to offer, and decided it was worth more than this conversation. That silence lands in a place that words never reach because they came prepared for your reaction. They had their defense rehearsed. They knew exactly how to navigate your anger, or your tears, or your carefully constructed explanation. They had done it before. They knew the shape of it. What they had absolutely no script for was nothing. Your composure, your refusal to perform your pain for their benefit, your complete withdrawal of the reaction they were counting on to manage the situation. Without that reaction to work with, they are left alone in the space between what they did and what it meant. No argument to hide behind, no emotion from you to redirect attention toward. Just the quiet, uncomfortable weight of their own choices, with nothing else in the room. And you, meanwhile, heal faster than you expected. Not because the pain was not real. It was real. It was deep and specific, and deserved to be felt. But every time you return to argue with the person who caused it, you reopen the wound with your own hands. Every confrontation is another moment of contact with the source of the damage. Silence removes that contact. And without constant contact, wounds close. Moving forward without their apology is not forgiveness for their sake. It is freedom for yours. It is the recognition that your healing does not require their participation, that you are not waiting for them to give you permission to be okay. Some people will read your silence as weakness. They will tell each other you had nothing to say. Let them construct whatever story makes them comfortable. Because while they are explaining your silence to each other, you will be building a life they were not invited into. And that life, full and moving and genuinely yours, will be the only response that ever needed to exist. Epictetus left us with this: the more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. Your pain is real. Their acknowledgement of it is not necessary for your freedom. Number 5. When you stop reacting, you become impossible to manipulate. People around you have been taking notes, not deliberately, not with any conscious plan, but through years of watching you move through situations, through years of seeing what makes you raise your voice and what makes you go quiet and what makes you abandon whatever you are focused on to deal with whatever just arrived. They have quietly built a map of you. They know which topic makes you immediately defensive. They know which comment about your past makes you spiral. They know which kind of silence from them sends you into a panic of over-communication. They know which situation makes you drop everything to manage a crisis that was not actually urgent but was framed in a way that made it feel like it was. And they use that map sometimes with full awareness, sometimes without realizing they are even holding it. But the result is the same. You get pulled off your path at the exact moments you were building momentum. You get destabilized right before the decisions that mattered most. You get drawn into chaos that was never really about you, but somehow always managed to cost you something. Every time you reacted, you confirmed the map. You showed them exactly where the pressure points were and proved again that pressing them still worked. Stop confirming it. Between the moment something happens and the moment you respond, create a space. Not a long theatrical pause designed to signal that you are above it all. Just a genuine breath, just enough distance from the stimulus to ask yourself one honest question. Does engaging with this move my life forward in any real way? Most provocations do not. Most arguments are not about finding truth or reaching understanding. They are about establishing dominance, about proving that one person can move the other whenever they choose to try. And the moment you stop being movable, those arguments lose their entire purpose. Most chaos is not an emergency, it is a pattern. It arrives at specific moments and requires specific reactions from you and produces specific outcomes for the people generating it. When you stop providing those reactions, the pattern breaks. And when the pattern breaks, the people who depended on it have to find a new way to relate to you, one that does not involve your reactivity as a resource. Some of them will not know how to do that, and they will leave. And that departure will feel like a loss until you realize what actually left with them. Drama left, manipulation left, the constant low-grade exhaustion of being someone else's emotional management system left. And what remains after that departure is space. Quiet, productive, genuinely yours space. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived conditions that broke most of the people around him, understood this at a depth most of us will never have to reach. He said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space is not passive. That space is where your power actually lives, not in the reaction, not in the clever comeback, not in the argument you won or the point you proved, in the space before any of that, in the moment where you chose not to give your energy to something that did not deserve it. Protect that space like it is the most valuable thing you own, because it genuinely is. Every decision you will ever make about who gets your time and who gets your attention and what gets your focus flows through that space. Guard it with everything you have, and every time you do, every time you choose the pause over the impulse, that space gets wider, your threshold rises. The things that used to send you into a spiral begin to register as background noise. The people who used to be able to derail your entire week with a single comment lose that ability quietly and permanently. A person who cannot be provoked cannot be controlled. A person who cannot be controlled cannot be stopped. And a person who cannot be stopped is building something real while everyone else is still arguing about things that will not matter in a year. Aristotle left us these words: anybody can become angry, that is easy, but to be angry with the right person to the right degree at the right time for the right purpose in the right way, that is not easy, that is mastery. Pull everything from today into one place. Your silence is not emptiness. Your silence is a decision that says, my energy is not automatic, my attention is not guaranteed, my reaction is not something you get to collect just by pushing the right buttons. And the people who cannot handle that are showing you exactly why you made the right call by withholding it. Stop defending yourself to people who have already decided what they think of you. No explanation you give will change a conclusion they reached before they asked for one. Stop explaining your choices to people who are waiting to use your words as evidence. Every detail you volunteer becomes ammunition in a case being built against you. Stop chasing people who are comfortable watching you run. Their comfort in that dynamic is the clearest possible signal about what they think of the balance between you. Stop reacting to provocations designed specifically to pull you off your path. The path is the point. The provocation is just a distraction with good timing. None of that restraint is weakness. All of it is self-respect operating below the surface, where most people never think to look. The world will keep generating noise. People will keep trying to reach you where you used to be reachable. Situations will keep arriving that were designed for the old version of you to react to. And every single time the choice will be yours, react or rise. Rising does not look the way people imagine it. It does not announce itself. It does not ask for applause. Sometimes rising looks exactly like silence, like stillness, like someone who heard everything and chose peace. Anyway, build that person. One pause at a time, one withheld reaction at a time, one moment of deliberate silence at a time. Seneca left us with this: it is not that I am brave. It is that I have decided what is worth my courage, and most things are not. Most things are not worth your reaction. Most people are not worth your explanation. Most arguments are not worth your peace. Your silence is strength. Your stillness is power. Your peace is the most protected thing you own. Guard it and never apologize for choosing it.